Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans. Yes, people. I'm back. I'm back in the dungeon. Dungeon? Why did I start with saying I'm back in the dungeon? I'm back in the usual abode, though. I have flown home. I say flown home. I've flown from home back to my second home. I'm back in the UK again. I'm back in familiar surroundings vis-a-vis recording the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. First things first, apologies to anybody who was like, where was the show yesterday? West Indies beat India by 4 runs, big victory in the first T20, and Machel was nowhere to be seen. Well, people, see that jet lag? It slumped me. It slumped me yesterday. I was watching West Indies batting in when we were batting in the first innings. I had the laptop on the bed, and I don't even know what was going on. You know, when you're so tired from jet lag, you don't even know if you're alive. That's what was going on. Anyways, I fell asleep. By the time I woke up again, India had just started batting. So I had to go back and watch the highlights later on of West Indies innings and so on and so forth. But that's by the by. My name is Machel St. Patrick, here at one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the edition. Welcome to the conversation. By now, you know the drill. There's 5,336 of you that are subscribers. So by now, I'd like to think the majority of you know the drill. If you're new, press that subscribe button, press that like button, and share the Caribbean Cricket Podcast with anybody who doesn't know about what we do. Just this past week, I saw some Apple Podcast charts. We are the 4th most listened to sports podcast in Guyana and Jamaica, respectively. In fact, Guyana, it might even be 3rd. So big up all the people in Guyana and Jamaica. Antigua as well, we're the 8th most listened to sports podcast in Antigua. So big up the people of Antigua as well, and big up anybody around the world who watches the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. But first things first, let's get into it. West Indies win the first T20 international. And before I kind of chop the game up, let me ask you this. We are now 6 games deep of India's tour of the West Indies, right? Forget people coming and saying, but Mash, Rohit, Virat, I'm not interested, okay? I already said in the previous video that this India side is still at the bare minimum, I would argue, better on paper than the West Indies side, or at least an equal of the West Indies side, right? Without Rohit and Virat, okay? With Rohit, and Virat. But anyways, we're 6 games deep. And thus far, the record reads as follows. India have won 3 of the 6 games, 1 test, 2 ODIs, no T20s thus far. And West Indies have won 2 games, 1 ODI, 1 T20, and there's been 1 draw, which was the 2nd test. So before we chop it up, be real and ask yourself this question. If you had been offered 6 games into India's tour, 10-match tour of the West Indies across multiple formats, if you had been offered that West Indies would have won 2 of those games and drawn 1, would you have taken it? I'll wait. Don't worry, I'll wait. There is no West Indian fan who would have turned their nose up at that and said, boy, we should be winning more games. I reckon that 99.9% of all West Indian fans prior to this series expected us to take not dozens, but loads of L's across the formats, okay? So I think in that context of performances thus far, people just have to remember that actually, as things currently stand, we're probably overperforming initial expectations of how West Indies would get on in this multi-format series. But anyways, let's chop it up. Let's get into the first T20. So West Indies won the toss and chose to bat. And they put up what most people assumed would be a substandard or slightly below par 149. For 6. I think Rovman said at the halfway stage he felt that the team was at least 15 or 20 runs short, but at least they gave themselves something to bowl to. Carl Mayer's first player out, he struggled to get back on board, didn't look comfortable at the crease at all. again, I spoke about it in the T20 squad video. I think there's starting to be a bit of a groundswell of opinion against Kyle Mayers. Not from us, not from me and Santoki, but I'm starting to pick up on a bit of a groundswell of opinion that, but Kyle Mayers, he's not looking good. He's out of nick in ODIs. What was it, like 3 scores above 40 out of his last 19 in ODIs? He's been dropped from the test squad. I think I would accept that Kyle Mayers looks like he's a bit out of nick, but I've got nothing against them still persisting with him. Certainly for now. Obviously, some people are going to say, looking at the squad, what about Shea Hope and what about this, what about that? But yeah, Kyle Mayers looks rusty as hell in his 7-ball stay at the crease, and he was the first player out. Brandon King followed in the same over, so that was the 5th over. Brandon King made a sprightly 28 of 19 balls, came out with intent before he fell LBW to Chahal. I should just say, for those who didn't watch it, that Kyle Mayers actually wasn't out. He was giving out LBW on the field. If they'd reviewed it, he would have actually stayed in because the ball was missing the stumps, but they didn't review. And then when Brandon got out 2 balls later, Brandon did review, and he was actually out. So within the first 5 overs, West Indies were 30 for 2 and looking up against it. Johnson Charles followed a couple overs later. He didn't make any dent. And to be fair, if we're going to criticize Kyle, I think I'm not convinced about Johnson Charles, where there are spin-heavy teams. And once we knew that once we knew that India were playing 3 spinners, so India played Chahal, Yadav, and Patel, right? As soon as I knew they were playing 3 spinners, I was like, yeah, Johnson Charles ain't making runs today. And predictably, Johnson Charles fell to spin, called it Yadav, getting him 3 runs. He was only there for 6 balls, and Tilak Varma took the catch to get rid of Johnson Charles. By the time Charles fell, we were 58 for 3. I should add Pooran was with him at the crease. But of course, Pooran came in and was licking the ball down early. He slowed down a bit after kind of making 20 odd of 13 balls. But Pooran came in fresh off, obviously, that amazing century scored in the Major League Cricket final. He looked in nick. Pooran came in, scored runs quickly. Rovman, because I remember we spoke about how Rovman was likely to be the guy who would split Pooran and Hetmeyer. You don't want what should be on paper 2-gun batters, and more importantly, 2 left-handed gun batters coming one after the other in Pooran and Hetty. We'll speak about Hetty in a second. But Rovman obviously split them, and Pooran and Rovman basically were going well. So Pooran and Rovman put on basically a 40-run partnership. When Pooran got out, he made 41 of 34 balls. So carried on his, I mean, it's only it was the 2nd best strike rate. No, sorry, 3rd best strike rate in the team. But from Pooran standards, he only scored at 120. But he gave the innings some impetus after the 3 quick wickets had kind of fallen, or 2 quick wickets had fallen. So, yeah, Pooran 41 of 34 balls, but Rovman was the standout, 48 of 32 balls. Shimron struggled again with the bat, 1-4, and then couple singles, and then he was gone for 10. And then Romario and Jason had like 11 balls between them. So we only put up 149 for 6. I say only. It looked under par. Before I go into the bowling effort, which is really what everyone should want to talk about off the back of that T20, people say, why didn't I mention it? So I'll quickly mention it. Does Shimron look out of nick with the bat? Yes, 100%. So since he's now had 4 innings at the crease across the 3 ODIs and T20s, I still think Shimron will come good. There's 5 T20s, right? Shimron is going to have 1 good innings at least, which I'll get onto in a minute. But obviously, thus far, his innings read 11, 9, 4, 10. And you see me. And I'll get onto Shimron's fielding later on, because obviously that requires some praise and so on and so forth. But let's talk about the bat first. You, by now, if you're a regular of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, you know that my whole thing about judging a player and their form is, what are they doing in their primary suit? So first things first, I say this quite a lot about someone like a Roston Chase or a Kyle Mayers, etc. Everybody in here everyone who's listening to this, whether you're a fan of Shimron Hetmeyer, whether you're one of the people who's like, Shimron Hetmeyer, or whether you're someone like me who's a bit more nuanced about it, my thing is simple. What is Shimron primarily in the team to do? What is his primary function in the West Indies team? And if you're being balanced and you're being realistic, you would undoubtedly say, well, he's in the team to be a top order bat. Whether his role in this team is finisher or whatever his role might be, he's in the team, ODIs, T20s, to be a top order bat. If you are agreeing with me that that is his primary role in the West Indies side, then he's not doing well. That's not slander. That's not coming for him. That's just basic facts. He's not doing well. 11, 9, 4, 10. Shimron looks out of nick with the bat, and it should be no surprise because ask yourself this. What has Shimron done since IPL? What work has he put into his game since IPL? Since IPL finished, he's probably, I would assume he's been back at home in Guyana, and then he flew out for some games last month, for Seattle Orcas in Major League Cricket. But he's basically not done much. Right? By all means, somebody at us, at Carib Cricket, Twitter, Instagram, go to our website, www.caribbeancricketpodcast.com, reply in the comments below and say, well, actually, Mash, Shimron's been doing X, Y, Z. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong then. But Shimron looks like someone who's not been doing much on his game with the bat, and therefore he's out of nick. IPL finished quite a long time ago now, about 2 months ago, and he looks like with the bat somebody who last played, quote unquote, seriously 2 months ago. Okay, I'm sure he'll come good. Like I say, there's 4 T20s left. I'm sure he'll get he'll have at least one good innings. But here's the thing: when Shimron does have that one good innings, here's what will predictably happen. All of the fanboys and all of the people who valiantly support him no matter what will say, I told you so. I told you so. This is why we need Shimron in the team. So just for clarity, my name is Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and this is my particular stance on Shimron Hetmyer. Yes, we need Shimron Hetmyer in the team. But no, is he justifying his place right now? No, he's not. But we still need Shimron Hetmyer in the team. What I just told you there is nuance, because that is recognizing that the guy is important to the side and he's a top bat, but it's also recognizing that he's not performing with the bat right now. But I will give him some slack the same way I'm giving Carl Mayers some slack, and so on and so forth. We move. So anyways, West Indies hit 149 for 6, and it looked like it would be under par. India came into bat, and Shubman fell early. Akil Hussain took the new ball, bowled in the power play. And let me pause on that straight away. I said it in the T20 preview video. This is why Akil Hussain has the pick over multi at this moment in time. Because if you actually study Akil Hussain, his white ball record, because I think it's harsh and unfortunate that Akil has been dropped from the ODI squad. But if you actually study Akil's T20 record, what Akil has over Gudakesh at the moment, and that doesn't mean that Gudakesh shouldn't have been in the squad, because I think you could probably fit both in, right? And give them both a game. There's 5 T20s, give them both a game at some point, right? But Akil has an ability and has shown it over the last 18 months to 2 years that you can bowl him at different stages of a T20 innings. And that is invaluable to a T20 captain, knowing that you can bowl your left arm spinner in the power play, just outside the power play, in the middle overs. I'm not saying Multi can't do that, but Akil has done that and proven that at the international level in T20 International. So you've got to keep going with Akil for now. Until Akil badly performs or underperforms for a significant period of time, Gudakesh can't come in ahead of Akil. But Gudakesh should have been in the squad just so we could have a look at him. Do you know what I mean? So anyways, Akil struck in the power play and he did this celebration. Now, I've seen Akil do that celebration before, so I don't think it was specific to... I don't think it was just done because of all the furore around whether he should be dropped, whether he should be in this, that, and the other. But I do think it was also pointed that that was the initial reaction of, and good if it was, and if it's Akil making some kind of motion to all of the kind of outside noise about him and this, that, yeah, I back that still, because Akil, I think, yeah, I think Akil's been harshly treated by being knocked out of the ODI squad, but good for Akil. Struck early, Shubman Gill gone. However, Sky came in, and so by the 5th over, the innings was about parity, because at the end of our 5th over, we were 30 for 2. When Ishan Kishan fell at the end of the 5th over, India were 28 for 2. It looked like Ishan and Sky were just setting up to go big, but Ishan hold out to Rothman Powell, Obed McCoy taking a wicket in the power play as well. And then out of the power play, Sky and Tilak Varma got going. Now, I'm going to freely admit to you lot, I have no idea who Tilak Varma is. No idea. And people in me, some of you listen to this, if you're IPL fans, will be like, how can you not know who Tilak Varma is? I don't watch IPL. You lot think it's a joke when I speak about how I don't watch IPL. I'm not interested. I'm based this year, 2023. I have not watched any T20 league anywhere around the world. That's a lie. No, sorry. I've seen some T20 blast this year because I've done some commentary on it for the BBC. But you see, that UAE International League, didn't watch it. South Africa T20, didn't watch it. IPL, didn't watch it. T10 leagues, didn't watch them. The only T20 league I'm going to study at any point this year is CPL, because CPL is important vis-a-vis West Indies World Cup squad. We've got a home World Cup coming up next year, etc., etc. But I'm not studying these T20 leagues, and I'm not doing it. So you lot think I'm doing it for effect when I tweet and say, boy, I ain't seen a ball of it. I'm not anti-T20, you know. I just don't care. I don't care about seeing the same players go from team to team to team to team in T20 tournaments. I'm not a dunce. Like, I'm being sold a pup here, so I'm not interested. So Tilak Varma, this is the first time I've ever seen the Donny, and he's talented, 20 years old, talented youth. So big up Tilak Varma. First time I've ever seen him. I get the hype. Man was licking it down to all places. Licked down Alzari Joseph for a couple of sixes, might even have been 3 6s, so on and so forth. Sky, like I say, looked like he was getting going, and then he got out. Jason Holder, I can't remember. Hetmeyer took the catch, but which catch was it? Which catch did Hetmeyer take? Was it Varma's wicket? I feel like it was Varma's wicket. Let me just go back and look at my tweets, people, to see which catch was the wicked catch from Hetmeyer. I swear it was Varma's one. Yeah. No, it was Sky's. It was Sky's, yeah. So Sky fell next. Jason Holder, the bowler, and Hetmeyer took a fantastic. In fact, let me not. I'm not even going to underplay it, because all of you lot who think I'm some kind of anti-Hetmeyer guy because I've been calling him long belly. I'm calling him long belly because he has a long belly, but I'm not anti-Hetmeyer. Sky slapped one into the cover region, and Hetmeyer pulled out a stunning. Can you hear me say it, Hetmeyer fans? A stunning two-handed catch to his left. And then immediately, of course, everybody went, you see, Mash, you're out of order. You're saying he's got a long belly, but his belly doesn't matter when it comes to fielding. Okay, cool. Man pulled off. Let me say it again. The man pulled off a stunning, outstanding, electrifying sports entertainment two-handed catch to his left. Brilliant. Well done, Hetty. For those of you who came for me straight after that and on the forums and the this and the that saying, you see, rewind this video, go back what I said 5 minutes ago. What is his primary suit in the side? If you're going to be dunce enough to just build an argument based off Shimron's fielding to say, and that's why he's in the side, cool. But what you're effectively saying to me then is that Shimron is in the side to be a specialist fielder. Don't be a dunce. Don't be a dunce, please. Fielding, let me finish this great. Fielding is the basic requirement of all players in the side. That was a stunning catch, and Shimron lifted Brian Lara Cricket Academy with that catch. The crowd reacted and responded to it. But Bish has spoken about this quite a lot on comms. Badri has, Stacey King, Shakira Selman, Ganga, etc. Everybody on comms. The fielding is the basics, the fundamentals, the foundations of what we expect from a West Indies side. Stunning catches or just taking regulation catches. That's the basics. What Shimron did, we're expecting that as the basics from everybody in the side. Obviously, we know some days West Indies field brilliantly, as they did in the second ODI, and then they field terribly. Like, we struggle as a side to put two good, outstanding games back-to-back really well. So I hear it. Fantastic, outstanding, brilliant catch. And Shimron was good in the field all day. Yeah, I think he took 3 catches and effected a run out with the help of Nicholas Puran, right? So I hear it, but let's not hype up what should be the basic fundamentals for a West Indies side at the same time, right? So if you lot think I'm trying to underplay Hetty, This is so when Carl Mayers pulled off the run out on who was that? On Sanju Samson, right? When Carl Mayers effected the run out, which was a fantastic. If you could even argue that the run out was better than Hetty's catch, because he did that on the run. I think Carl Mayers was running to his right and affected the run out from, was that the mid wicket region? Can't remember. But either way, sorry, what am I trying to say? Yeah, either way, that again I take as, well, this is the standards, these are the fundamentals, these are the expectations of a good fielding side. This is what we want to see on a far regular basis. No one is in the West Indies team for being a specialist fielder. Those are the foundations that we expect in a game by game West Indies performance anyway. Okay, so I hope you'll understand what I kind of mean by that. Anyways, fantastic catch by Hetty. Sky went. Varma, who had been hitting it to all parts, then fell. Next, Romario Shepherd getting in on the act, and again Hetty caught a skyer, like moved to his right and waited and took the skyer catch, yeah. And Varma went for 39 off 22 balls. So Varma had actually had the best strike rate in the match, better than Rodman Powell's one. Varma went at 177. I want to see more of Varma. Now, obviously, people say go watch IPL then, but I'm excited by what I saw of this Varma guy, and I'll keep some tabs on him going forward. So at that stage, after 11 overs, India was 77 for 4. And I think it was about par with where West Indies were at that time as well. There was always the sense, though, that if we could get past Pandya and Samson, that we could get at India, because their tail looked quite long. From Axar Patel was a 7. It was like Patel, Yadav, Singh, Chahal, Kumar. It just looked kind of longish if we could get past Pandya and Samson. But Pandya and Samson put on a good partnership. They put on about 37, 38 runs. And going into the 16th over, with only 4 wickets down, India basically needed, like, I think 50 off, like, what was it? 50. It was like 50 off 30-something balls that they needed. Like, that's regulation in T20s when you've got 6 wickets to go. But it was the 16th over that basically changed the match. And it goes a long way to explaining why Jason Holder was the player of the match. So in the 16th over, first Holder bowled Pandya. And good on Jason Holder, by the way, because I've done a video on this previously. Go back into the CCP archives to go look it up. But again, I must state, people who have been coming for Jason Holder recently, in that video that I did, I think it was about 3 months ago, I looked at Jason Holder's stats forensically and said to people, if you are judging Jason Holder and saying, he should be holding and drop, etc., just make sure you're using statistical evidence to support your opinion, right? And what I said at the turn of the year into 2023 is that I said, if you actually study Jason Holder's white ball bowling stats, he has improved significantly in T20s and ODIs. I've got issues with the batting, but with the ball, he had improved significantly in white ball cricket. And I think people sometimes, some West Indian fans, get caught up in, what was the last performance I saw? Man made a duck, man needs to be dropped. And they don't look at things holistically. They don't look at things in a wider context. So therefore, if a platform like ourselves then says, no, Holder's supposed to keep his place, or the last video I did, Roston Chase actually hasn't done anything to deserve to be dropped from the West Indies T20 squad, that's because I'm looking at it holistically. I'm looking at the wider context. What's the wider context saying? I'm not looking at it just from what's the last performance saying. So big up Jason Holder. Shut up a few critics there with the performance. But anyways, bowled Pandya. And then Samson fell with what BT or whichever platform you lot were watching the game on. I think Bish said that Mayers pulled off the player of the day, and I agree with him. I think that Mayers run out was an exceptional piece of fielding. I think he had one stump to aim at and took it out on the run. You know, those ones where you're seeing the stump on from the side angle, and that was the moment. I think when Samson got run out and the score was then 1-3 for 6, all of a sudden we were into India's tail. They still needed like 45 plus runs with only 4 wickets to go. But there was always the chance that Axar Patel could see it home. Axar can bat. He's no dunce. He's no dunce with the bat. Whereas I thought Yadav Singh, Chahal, and Kumar couldn't do anything, I thought that Axar still had the potential to maybe lead them home, given it's a T20 context. But and Axar did hit a lusty blow. I think it was off Obed McCoy. And I think Obed bowled the 17th over. Was it the 17th? I can't remember. But Obed licked someone down. Can't remember who it was. Might even be Nazar Joseph for all I remember. But anyways, Obed got Axar in the end. So Axar went for 13 again. Hetmeyer standing under a skyer in the outfield and took a catch again. So Axar went. Score was 129 for 7. And at that point, it was like, yeah, we should win this. Arshdeep licked down Obed McCoy a couple times. I think it was Obed McCoy. But again, it was there was kind of just a sense of, yeah, we're going to see this home. But it must be noted that, so the final 3 overs, I think, were left to, I think it was Alzari, or was it Jason? Was it Jason, Obed? Let me go look at this, people. It's important that I actually know. It's important that I know what I'm talking about and I don't just chat nonsense, you know. So the final 3 overs were Jason Holder bowled the 18th. Yeah, Jason Holder bowled the 18th and went for 11 runs. Who bowled the 19th? Obed bowled the 19th and went for 11 runs, but got a wicket, I think, of Kuldeep Yadav. And then, so yeah, that's it, right? So, yeah, so in fairness, Obed's 19th over. So who bowled the 17th? So 17th, that's it. So Alzari bowled the 17th. And after the 17th over, India needed 32 from 18 balls. And it was like, yeah, we should. I was like, yeah, we should see this home. Yes, there's 4 wickets left. There's 4 wickets left to go, but we're in the ascendancy here. Holder then went for 11, which meant India needed 21 from 12, and Axar was still there. And that's when it got a bit dicey. But then Obed got Axar Patel at the start of the 19th over, which was key, but still went for 11 runs. So going into the final over, Romario Shepherd, and this is key because I wanted to build up to this, Romario Shepherd had to defend 10 runs, okay? India only had 2 wickets. Sorry, India had 3 wickets remaining, right? Now, I pause here to say Romario Shepherd has been in the death overs so many times in his career, both at the domestic level, think Guyana, Amazon Warriors, international level for the West Indies. And with respect to Romario Shepherd, so many times Romario Shepherd has absolutely collapsed, I would say, mentally under the pressure, bowling death overs. So I'll freely admit that when I realized as they were setting up the final 4 overs, when I realized that they were giving the death over to Romario, I was like, well, oh boy, anything could happen from here. But I want to just state this, and I noted this. I said it at the time of the World Cup qualifiers, and I've kept on tweeting it ever since. There was a press conference interview press conference that Darren Sammy did after one of the games in the World Cup, or it was before one of the games because Romario hadn't played yet in the World Cup. And he was asked about Romario, or maybe he just started talking about Romario. And Darren, I'm paraphrasing, said, Romario Shepherd is one of the hardest working players in this team. He has got a skill set that we desperately need. And again, I'm paraphrasing, I can't wait to unlock his undoubted potential. It was something along those kind of lines. And I noted it. I wrote it down. I think I even tweeted it at the time and said, okay, I've never really heard a West Indian coach speak about Romario in such glowing terms before. And I tweeted at the time, Romario is a confidence player. And he is. That's obvious. Romario is a confidence player. He's had so many ups and downs in his career. With Romario at his best, for those of you who are long enough in the tooth in West Indies cricket, you may remember that Romario, when he was first at his best like 3-4 years ago, had a lot of variations. The slower ball, again, the off cutter, the quick bouncer, the Yorker, right? And then he lost it. It's like he got the yips. People kept bowling him at the death. He kept getting destroyed. Darren Sammy believes in Romario Shepherd, and it's not always going to come off, but the point is he believes in Romario Shepherd. Since these white ball games have started, Romario has been locked in at that number 7 position, and he hasn't moved from it. That's because you can tell the coach believes in trying to give Romario Shepherd opportunities. And he's been bowling more. has been bowling more and at crucial stages. Anyways, long story short, Romario was given the final over with only 10 to defend and 3 wickets to go, and he pulled off a masterclass in the final over. Got rid of Yadav, was it Yadav? Can't remember. Arshdeep Singh and someone else. I think it was Yadav and Arshdeep Singh, but I can't actually remember. And only gave up. So it was wicket 1, 2, wicket 1. Okay. Brilliant final over from Romario Shepherd, and you could tell it meant a lot to him. And that's what happens when someone believes in you and someone is willing to have faith in you and say, you know what, it's not always going to work, but I believe in you. So big up Powell and Sammy, because that would have been a plan to always give Romario Shepherd the final over. That wouldn't have been, let's just make this up on the spot, because if you have Jason Holder, Obed McCoy and Alzari Joseph, and you leave Romario at the end, that's a deliberate plan. So well done, Romario. Well done, the team. Well done, the squad. So West Indies take the first ODI. They win it by 4 wickets. And if India didn't know, they now know that they're in a series. Important for West Indies to take out the first game. And also, if we just extrapolate this from a T20 perspective, important, remember there's a World Cup in about 10 months, 9 months. This is a good building block off the back of the green shoots that we saw in South Africa. Lest we forget, West Indies beat South Africa 2-1 in South Africa in our last T20 engagement. So this was important as a building block to say that was no fluke. We're building something here. We've got something about us. Rovman Powell looked re-energized. He's looked absolutely all at sea in ODI cricket, but back with the captaincy, back in T20 cricket, and he looked a completely different. He had a completely different aura and a completely different energy with the burden of the captaincy as well. He almost thrived off that. So well done to the team. Big up the victory. As usual, people, a bit longer than I expected, but I think I've kind of gone longer because, well, I didn't do what I usually do, which is run a live after the game. But well done, everyone. Well done, everyone. Like the team needs my approval, but well done to the team, well done to the backroom staff. As usual, people, get at us in the comments below. Road to 6K, like, share, subscribe. At Carib Cricket on Twitter and Instagram, website www.caribbeancricketpodcast.com. And if you want to become a patron, support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, we have no sponsor. We do this just off the back of you, the patrons. www.patreon.com/Caribbean Cricket. I've been Machel saying Patrick Hewitt. Oh, sorry, got that wrong. www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. I need to start putting the patron names at the bottom of the screen to big up all the patrons. You know, there's 53 of you. Thank you, all of you, for your support, because literally everyone's like, "Oh, Mash, how do you in Santoki afford to do this?" We don't. That's the answer, people. We don't. It's just off the back of the patrons and whatever money that we can put in. Sometimes you got to speculate to accumulate, you know, albeit what I don't know what accumulating we're actually doing. But I've been Machel St. Patrick here, one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Thank you and good night.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rules seem coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.